is 24.2. So that's HAVOC rate. So that's, I believe, an S&P plus a metric that was devised by Bill Connelly. And if you've never read Bill Connelly's work, you need to if you love college football and you're a geek or a nerd of any, or just want to understand what's really happening out there. Don't go to the total yardage figures that you see in the archaic statistics, because they don't tell you a whole lot. Yes, they give you some measurement that means something, but don't give you the full range picture, because obviously bad teams need to throw the ball 50 times to win, most of them. Therefore, they throw for a lot of yards, but they're not necessarily effective yardage, for example. So the advanced metrics are really good. I read all of his college football previews on all the teams in the FBS. So this particular statistic measures a team's ability to disrupt the other offense, get into the backfield, force turnovers, deflect passes, throw down players for sacks and tackles for loss. And Miami was number one in the country last year, 24% of the time. 24% of the offensive plays run by the opposing team were HAVOC plays by the Miami defense. You've lost talent along the defensive front, Cam. Do you expect that rate to continue?
I do expect it to be similar to that. And I opened up Bill Connelly. He's unfortunately, he left SB Nation. He's now with ESPN. That small company. So his ACC Coastal preview, but he already gave us the Miami preview with SB Nation before he actually transitioned over to ESPN, so that you have that as well. But HAVOC rate is if you take total tackles for loss, passes defended, so that's PBUs, and forced fumbles, and you divide that by the number of total plays, that gives you your HAVOC rate number. So that, I mean, 24.2, that's almost 1 out of 4 plays are going to be a tackle for loss, a PBU or pass batted down by the defensive line, or a forced fumble. I mean, that's a huge number. I mean, just think about, especially when you're playing, pace and space, all these teams want to run a million plays, and a quarter of them are doing that. So now that's going to put you behind the sticks. That's going to give you, going to change the way that you're doing, especially, like I know that we lost them last year running that offense, but, think about Georgia Tech. You know what I mean? If you have all of these negative plays with them, and they need to stay on schedule to continue, or they did when they ran that triple option offense. They needed to get 3-4 yards of play, because you can go with 4 yards of carry, you can continue to move down the field. But if you have a -5 and all of a sudden, or -7 on a play, now it's 2nd and 17. That offense was not necessarily built for that. And the same thing can be said for, a lot of other teams. You have your packages for different kinds of things. So yeah, that's a huge HAVOC rate number. And I do think that it's going to be similar in this season for Miami, just because that's the nature of the scheme, that Manny Diaz has concocted and that the Hurricanes run. The point is to get up the field and create this havoc, and have all these tackles for loss. Miami had the most tackles for loss in the country on a per game basis. Obviously, the raw number was lower because Clemson played 15 games and Miami only played 12 or 13, excuse me. But yeah, so I think that it's going to be similar. Sorry. My mom was texting me right there, but I just spoke to her on the phone and she can wait. But yeah, I think it's going to be similar. And as I'm scrolling down, do I have it from 2 years ago? I don't have the one in front of me from 2 years ago, but I believe that it was very similar in 2017 to what we saw in 2018. I was trying to look up and see if I still had the 2018 preview by Connelly, but I don't have it in front of me, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that it's going to be about the same. I think that, there's talent everywhere on the defensive line still. The names are different. Obviously, you got to replace the immaculate immense performance of Gerald Willis III. You're going to have to replace what Joe Jackson brought up front. But you have Nessa Silvera and John Ford and, Chigozie Naruka coming in from UCLA, who's probably not going to be a super big, TFL guy, but he's going to help the defense and the defensive line. And at end, John Garvin is a potential first-round NFL draft pick. Gregory Rousseau has been compared to Calais Campbell by people all over the country, including Calais Campbell himself, who just got a brand new, $60 million or whatever $1 million contract in the NFL, one of the biggest and best defensive ends in the country. And there's other guys, Scott Patchin's in that group, Jafari Harvey, a freshman's in that group, Trayvon Hill who was actually the most disruptive defensive end in America in the 3 games he played for Virginia Tech before whatever went awry there, and he stopped playing for them. So you bring in a guy who does what the defense is designed to do well, and he was doing it better than anybody else in America to the time that he played last year. So, yeah, I do expect that. And, I mean, at the second level also, because, those guys are going to be going forward, you have, 4 senior starters, striker, Romeo Finley, and then linebacker, Shaq Quarterman, Michael Pinckney, and Zach McLeod. That front 7 is still going to get up the field. They're still going to make those plays. So, new defensive coordinator Blake Baker learned under Manny Diaz and runs the same scheme. That's why he was brought in to propagate that same scheme and keep it going here. So, yeah, I do, think that the HAVOC rate numbers are going to be, if not the same, they should be pretty closely similar. I don't necessarily think that it's going to drop down, like what would a 25% reduction be? Like 18%? Yeah, so if I took, like a 25% reduction off the 24% HAVOC rate, that's 6%, give or take. So you're talking like in the 17.5 to 18.2 range. That's a big jump down in HAVOC plays created. So I don't think that you're going to see that kind of a drop off. I could see like a marginal drop off of a couple percent here and there. Maybe you go from number 1 in the country in that stat to like top 10. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be like a complete return to Mark D'Onofrio's defense where Miami just kind of sat back and played patty cake and watched the other teams walk up and down the field for 700 yards a week.